Goldstone, California. The clock strikes 3:17 a.m. The desert is still, the silence broken only by the hum of machinery in the background. Engineers at NASA are running their usual routine checks, the kind they've performed countless times before. Everything seems normal, but then something happens. The console lights up not with static or the usual hum of cosmic background noise, but with something entirely different. A repeating, structured signal, perfect in its mathematical precision. The senior engineer on duty doesn't just notice it, he reacts. He physically leans back from his chair and, without missing a beat, says the words no one expected, "That cannot be natural." He checks the system. The calibration is fine. The noise filters? Clean. He cross-references the signal against 1,700 pages of documented cosmic phenomena, from pulsars to magnetars to solar plasma bursts. Nothing matches. And in that exact moment, something in the universe changes. Not just in the data, but in our understanding of where we stand in the cosmos. It's October 17th, 2025. The signal, emanating from somewhere beyond the solar system, had entered our realm from the depths of interstellar space, an object we would later come to know as 3I, Atlas, a seemingly unremarkable point of light in the sky. But the moment it entered the solar system, it defied everything we thought we knew about cosmic objects. This was no comet. This wasn't an asteroid. And it wasn't just floating silently through the cosmos. It was sending a message. The signal itself, its structure, its frequency, its increasing intensity changed the entire trajectory of the investigation. This was no ordinary transmission. It wasn't just a fluke in the system or a cosmic anomaly. This was something deliberate. As the hours ticked by, something remarkable happened. What started as a wide, broadcasted signal began to tighten, to focus, to aim with precision. It wasn't random, and it wasn't chance. It was as if this signal, from deep within space, knew exactly where to direct its attention. The frequency grew stronger, its structure more defined. For 5 long hours, the signal built in intensity. The engineers at NASA worked tirelessly, analyzing every variable, considering every possibility. But nothing could explain what they were seeing. It wasn't just a random cosmic flare. It was something calculated, something with purpose. And then, after 5 hours of increasingly intricate patterns, the signal stopped, just like that. It was as if it had achieved its goal, as if it had sent the message it came to deliver, and then, just like a shadow slipping behind the sun, it vanished. As the object passed beyond the view of Earth, all eyes turned to the data, and the question on everyone's mind remained, what just happened? To fully understand the magnitude of what happened on October 17th, 2025, we need to look at the tool that first detected the signal, NASA's Deep Space Network, DSN. The DSN is no ordinary system. It's an awe-inspiring marvel of human engineering, a collection of 3 massive radio antenna complexes located around the globe, in Goldstone, California, Madrid, Spain, and Canberra, Australia. This network spans the Earth, ensuring that no matter where an object is in space, there's always an antenna in line of sight, ready to receive its signals. The size and precision of these antennas is extraordinary. Take Goldstone, for example. The 70-meter antenna there is so finely tuned that it can pick up a signal equivalent to the power of a standard light bulb from a distance of 16 billion kilometers, far beyond even our farthest spacecraft. It's the same system that keeps in contact with Voyager 1, which is more than 23 billion kilometers away. The DSN is sensitive, incredibly accurate, and designed to detect even the faintest of signals across the universe. But when the signal from 3I, Atlas, was first detected, it wasn't just any ordinary signal. The system's automated signal verification process kicked into action, instantly cross-referencing the incoming data against a vast catalog of known sources. It searched through everything: spacecraft transponder frequencies, documented pulsars, magnetars, quasar emissions, and more, and the result? Nothing matched. Not a single known cosmic phenomenon fit what the DSN had recorded. The signal was unlike anything the team had ever seen. What they detected wasn't random noise. It was a structured, repeating electromagnetic pulse cycling with impeccable regularity every 47 minutes. The pulses lasted exactly 11.3 seconds precise to the fraction of a second, with no variation whatsoever. It wasn't a small fluctuation. This was something grand, something with intent. The team had to double-check the instruments to make sure they weren't malfunctioning, but everything was clean. And yet, the signal remained perfectly regular, almost unnervingly so. This wasn't just an anomaly, it was a piece of data that had a story to tell, a message encoded in a way that science couldn't ignore. For engineers and astronomers alike, this signal raised a question: could this be artificial in origin? The patterns, the regularity, it wasn't natural. And that realization would change everything. To understand just how extraordinary this event was, we need to dive deeper into what the structure of the signal revealed. When astronomers and engineers analyzed the signal further, they found something that defied every natural explanation. It had layers-nested information built into its very structure. These were not just simple, repeating pulses. The signal carried complexity within its 3-second window. At intervals of 1.7 seconds, additional sub-patterns appeared, and within those, even faster modulations, almost like a Russian nesting doll, but with data, not shapes. This is what we call multiplexing in the world of communication theory. It's a technique where multiple streams of information are embedded within a single signal, modulating various parameters like frequency, amplitude, and phase at different timescales. Multiplexing is a core principle of modern digital communication, used in everything from cell phones to satellite TV. But here's the thing: nature doesn't do multiplexing. No natural cosmic phenomenon produces a signal with such intricate, coherent modulations across multiple timescales. This kind of signal could only come from an engineered system designed deliberately to encode information. At that point, the question wasn't just about whether this signal was artificial. The more scientists looked into it, the clearer it became. This wasn't just an anomalous signal. It was the kind of signal you would expect to find if an intelligent being was sending a message across the cosmos. And it wasn't just random noise or background radiation. It was structured. It had purpose, and it was aimed directly at us. But what was even more stunning was the signal's evolution. Over the course of 5 hours, its intensity increased by more than 300%, and that's not something you typically see with cosmic sources. Signals from distant objects usually weaken as they travel farther away from their source. This is called the inverse square law. But 3I, Atlas, wasn't moving toward Earth. In fact, its trajectory had it moving away from our planet. Yet, somehow, the signal grew stronger. This couldn't be explained by the usual laws of physics. It pointed to one conclusion: something inside the object was amplifying the signal. Something was feeding more energy into its transmission systems, actively powering up. That's when NASA's response shifted from routine protocol to something far more urgent. Experts from across various fields, radio, astronomers, cryptographers, engineers, and even military experts, were brought together to evaluate the data. Their collective mission was clear: Eliminate every possible natural explanation before jumping to conclusions. After 72 hours of rigorous analysis, the result was undeniable. The probability that this signal was of artificial origin exceeded 99.7%. That was the moment that the world realized. This wasn't just a cosmic oddity. It was something far more profound. It was a message sent with intention. But the real revelation came next. The frequency at which the signal was transmitted held the answer to the most important question of all. Was this signal meant to be recognized as intelligent? Now, let's focus on the frequency. When analysts examined the signal in greater detail, they discovered that the transmission was centered at exactly 1.42 gigahertz, the hydrogen line. To understand why this is so important, we need to dive into the history of radio astronomy and interstellar communication. In 1944, a young Dutch astronomer named Rik van der Holst made a groundbreaking theoretical prediction. He hypothesized that neutral hydrogen atoms, the most abundant element in the universe, would emit radio waves at a very specific frequency, 1.42 gigahertz. This is known as the hyperfine transition, or the spin-flip transition of hydrogen. Simply put, when an electron in a hydrogen atom flips its orientation, it releases a photon of energy, which corresponds to a specific frequency, 1.42 gigahertz. This frequency, known as the hydrogen line, became one of the most crucial tools in astronomy. It's the signature of hydrogen, the most basic and abundant element in the universe. Every technological civilization capable of radio astronomy would encounter this frequency. It's universal, meaning any civilization that understands the physics of the universe would, without fail, choose this frequency to communicate. Why? Because it's not just convenient, it's deliberate. The 1.42 gigahertz frequency is the loudest, most pervasive radio signature in the cosmos. It's the universal frequency, the one that no advanced civilization could miss if they were searching for other intelligent life. In 1959, two scientists, Philip Morrison and Giuseppe Cocconi, argued that any intelligent civilization wishing to signal another would broadcast at or near this frequency. It's the most logical choice, a message in a language the universe shares. The signal from 3I, Atlas, was centered exactly at 1.42 gigahertz. It was as if the object was deliberately choosing this frequency to ensure that any civilization capable of detecting radio waves would recognize it as intentional. This wasn't a random emission. This was a deliberate communication designed to be heard by us. And as if that wasn't enough, the signal itself didn't just contain the frequency, it was layered with complexity, with nested subpatterns and modulations that pointed to something even more extraordinary: intelligence. The implications of this discovery are staggering. The signal from 3I, Atlas, wasn't just random noise or some unexplained cosmic phenomenon. It was a deliberate, structured transmission aimed directly at Earth. And it was not just about the frequency. The content of the signal itself, its nested layers of information, its precise modulation, told us something far more profound. It was as if the object was speaking to us in the one language the universe understands. But the message didn't stop there. On October 20th, 2025, just days before 3I, Atlas would vanish behind the sun, the signal underwent a drastic change. For 8 minutes and 24 seconds, the transmission collapsed from its broad, isotropic signal into a narrow, coherent beam. This wasn't a gradual shift. It was as if someone had turned a spotlight from a broad wash of light to a focused, hard-edged beam. The signal was no longer broadcasting in all directions, it was aimed specifically at us. This shift in the signal's behavior was impossible for a natural source to replicate. In nature, radio signals scatter, pulsars sweep broad beams, magnetar flares radiate in all directions. But to produce a narrow, directed beam, you need an array of emitters working together, coordinated with extreme precision. This is engineering, not nature. And the signal wasn't just pointing somewhere in the general direction of Earth. It was aimed directly at our planet. The precision was so exact that the probability of random alignment was practically zero. It was as if the object knew exactly where Earth was, and it knew when we would be able to see it. This wasn't a random cosmic event. This was deliberate. And it wasn't just about the signal itself, it was about the timing. The object knew when it would be visible and when it would disappear behind the sun, slipping out of sight for good. And it chose that precise moment to aim its message at Earth. As 3I, Atlas completed its final transmission and vanished behind the sun, the world was left in stunned silence. For 5 days, every major space agency on Earth went dark. No press releases, no public announcements, just silence. No one knew what to say, or perhaps no one was ready to say it. But one of the most decorated astrophysicists in the world broke the silence, issuing a statement that would send shockwaves through the scientific community. He didn't call it caution, he called it something far more unsettling: institutional paralysis. The signal from 3I, Atlas, had been recorded, analyzed, and confirmed to be of artificial origin with a probability exceeding 99.7%. Yet, no one knew how to respond. The data was undeniable, the implications overwhelming. For the first time in history, humanity had received a clear signal, one that we could not explain away, one that we couldn't attribute to natural phenomena. This wasn't a cosmic coincidence. This was something designed, something purposeful. And here's where the story leaves us standing on the edge of a new era. We now know that we're not alone in the universe. 3I, Atlas, was more than a point of light passing through our solar system. It was a message that humankind will continue to unravel for years to come. The questions are endless. Who sent it? What is their purpose? Why did they choose this moment to contact us? As we look to the stars, we must consider the possibility that we are not the only intelligent beings in the universe. The discovery of 3I, Atlas, has changed our understanding of our place in the cosmos. And as scientists, engineers, and thinkers continue to analyze the data, one thing is certain: this event marks a turning point in our history. It's no longer just about looking up at the sky, it's about preparing for what might come next. So, what does this mean for the future of humanity? Are we ready to face the implications of this discovery? What will we do with the knowledge that we are not alone? If you want to stay updated on the ongoing research and future discoveries in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. This journey is just beginning, and we need you along for the ride. Join us as we explore the unknown and venture deeper into the mysteries of the universe.